Hello there everyone, welcome to the channel if you're new, welcome back if you are not. I am EDJ, and we're continuing with Epic History TV's Belisarius' series, and specifically his now Part 5, the war with the Sassanids. So yeah, last time the man just basically took back Italy casually, obviously had some difficulties, but that was mainly only because his fellow Romans were kind of undermining him and kind of making it more difficult than it needed to be. But either way, he came out on top, and now the man needs to once again stop the Sassanids. And yeah, overall, no better man for the job. He's really the best of his era, and I can't wait to see how this goes, because I have a great feeling that Belisarius is gonna amaze me once again. So, with that said, let's get started, but first, I want to let you all know, if you want to watch this original video without me pausing the talk, or, commenting or whatever, the link is always down in the description down below. And without any further ado, let us get right to it. Let us watch Belisarius Part 5, War with the Sassanids.
540 AD. Khosrow, Sassanid king of Persia, is invading the Eastern Roman Empire. His huge army marches along the banks of the Euphrates River. Sura falls before them. Hierapolis is ransomed for 2,000 pounds of silver. Berea burns. Then, to the horror of all Romans, Khosrow takes Antioch, second city of the empire, the Roman capital of the Near East. The city burns. Soldiers flee. Civilians are massacred.
Yeah, that's gonna be a huge morale loss.
Historian Procopius writes, "I become dizzy as I write about such a great calamity, and transmit it to future times to remember. I cannot understand why it should be God's will to exalt the fortunes of a man or place, and then to obliterate them for no cause that is apparent to us." After years of victories, Justinian's empire is rocked by this devastating onslaught. The emperor can send only his cousin Germanus and 300 soldiers, with a promise of a great army to follow. But there is no great army. Roman forces are tied down fighting Justinian's wars in the west. Instead, he will dispatch his greatest general, Belisarius, and pray for a miracle, little knowing that the empire is about to be plunged into an even greater catastrophe.
Oh no.
Unlike anything the world...
The Black Death, right? The bubonic plague, or is that a different one? Either way, the Black Death, I think. Man, it goes to show you just how far we are in history, right? How far we've come. Yeah, the plague that just destroyed them so hard, just the world. And the Byzantines in particular suffered a lot, so that it sucks extra for them. Okay, yeah, I was correct, the bubonic plague. I just wanted to check to be sure.
The world has ever seen before. Trouble had been brewing on Justinian's eastern frontier for years. The Eastern Roman and Sassanid empires, the two great powers of the Middle East, had signed a treaty of eternal peace just 8 years before.
What an ironic name.
Khosrow had looked on with growing alarm, as Roman forces, led by Belisarius, had reconquered first North Africa, then Italy. Half in jest, Khosrow asks Justinian for his share of the tribute, since these victories are only possible because he's granted the Romans peace. But
wow.
The joke is wearing thin. Khosrow receives envoys from the Goths in Italy and the Armenians, who beg him for aid. Justinian, they tell him, has conceived the desire of seizing the entire earth. He will march against the Persians with those he has already enslaved, respecting neither the name of friendship nor any of his sworn promises. In 540, Khosrow accuses the Eastern Emperor of paying Huns to raid Persian land and trying to bribe his Arab allies to switch sides. Then he attacks. Justinian has stripped the frontier of its best troops to reinforce his army in Italy. There is no Roman force that can stand up to Khosrow's invasion. Antioch is sacked. Survivors are enslaved and sent to Persia. Khosrow then marches to the coast and symbolically bathes in the waters of the Mediterranean. He moves on to Apamea, where he demands 1,000 pounds of silver, but lets the priests keep their piece of the true cross. He then fixes the local chariot race, so that Justinian's favorite team, the Blues, lose.
Wow, he's going for all the insults, right? It wasn't enough to just invade and then, you know, take this great city, right? He had to bathe in the Mediterranean just to see, like, it's mine now. And then rig sports. Dude, he's going for it, man. He's like, how much more insults can one man take, you know? Khosrow is wilding right now. Justinian, you need to stop him. That's the last straw. You know, that's just too far, man.
Justinian agrees to pay Khosrow 5,000 pounds of gold, with 500 more to be paid annually, in exchange for a truce. Satisfied, Khosrow sets off for home. However, he does not let the truce prevent him from extorting several more payments en route. It is the Eastern Roman Empire's greatest military humiliation in 3 centuries.
Yeah, Justinian, I get it. You know, you have your best troops away at the moment. You couldn't muster up an assault. I get it. I get it. That was a tough call. But man, is that humiliating. Like, you know, that's embarrassing. Alright, I'll give you all this money, just go away, please, you know? That's how it comes across, but... Tough call, man. But maybe you can use this to buy time, right? Buy some time, get Belisarius back, and then resume the war.
Everyone was talking about Belisarius. He was credited with 2 victories such as never before fallen to the lot of one man. He had brought 2 kings captive to Constantinople, and beyond all expectation, had made Roman spoils of the nations and wealth of Geseric and Theodoric. In the Eastern Roman capital, Belisarius has been welcomed back from Italy as a hero. He and his entourage draw admiring crowds wherever they go. But he does not have long to enjoy his success. In early 541, Justinian sends Belisarius east to take command of Roman forces in Syria and ensure there is no repeat of the previous year's disaster. Belisarius's wife, Antonina, has accompanied him on previous campaigns to North Africa and Italy and proved herself a valuable advisor and deputy. But this time, she remains in Constantinople to advise her friend and patron, Empress Theodora.
Take part in the large-scale battles of War Thunder, an epic multiplayer action game with military vehicles.
Belisarius gathers all available forces at Dara, site of his great victory 11 years before. He has his own household troops, the elite Bucellari, Ostrogoths who've joined him in Italy, Rome's Sassanid Arab allies, led by Al-Harith, and several thousand Limitani, the Empire's frontier troops. Procopius does not tell us the size of these forces, so we can only make educated guesses based on circumstantial evidence. Local Roman forces are shaken by the events of the previous year. Belisarius spends several weeks reorganizing these men, re-equipping them, and rebuilding their shattered morale. When Belisarius learns that Khosrow and the main Persian army are far away in the north, campaigning in Lazica, he decides to go on the offensive and targets the Persian city of Nisibis. This fortified frontier city is too strong to assault directly, but Belisarius hopes the garrison can be lured out and defeated in battle, allowing his troops to rush into the city, mingled with the retreating enemy. Belisarius camps 5 miles from Nisibis, close enough to tempt the Persians to attack, but far enough that they can't easily retreat back to the city. But one Roman commander, Peter, camps far too close. Worse, he ignores Belisarius' warning to be on high alert at noon, when the Persians are most likely to strike. The Persian commander, Nabides, spots this isolated Roman force and attacks.
Dang it, Peter.
Immediately sends a rider to Belisarius calling for aid. But Belisarius and the rest of the army have already seen what's happening and are on their way. Before they can reach Peter, his force is hit by the Persian cavalry. After a brief fight, his troops scatter. 50 men are killed. A Roman standard is lost. When Belisarius arrives with reinforcements, he drives off the Persians, who retreat into the city, leaving behind more than 100 dead. But the loss of a Roman standard in such a pointless skirmish is a bitter blow. Belisarius marches on to the Persian fort at Sassanids. His first attack is repelled. He digs in for a siege, while ordering Al-Harith's Arabs and 1,200 Bukhari to cross the Tigris River and raid deep into Assyria. It has been many years since the Romans have raided this far into Persian territory. There is little resistance and much plunder. Sassanids runs out of food and surrenders to Belisarius. But the Roman general has run out of time. His troops are exhausted by the extreme summer heat, and a third are sick. His Limitani wish to return to their homes, now threatened by the start of the Arab raiding season. While Al-Harith and his men have gone AWOL. It later emerges they've ridden straight home to avoid sharing their loot with the Romans.
Oh my goodness.
Belisarius, having achieved as much as he can with his limited force, withdraws back into Roman territory. At the opening of spring, Khosrow, son of Kavad, for the third time began an invasion into the land of the Romans with a large army, keeping the Euphrates River on the right. The Emperor Justinian, upon learning of the inroad of the Persians, sent Belisarius against them once more. 542 AD. Belisarius spends the winter in Constantinople, but in early spring, news arrives that Khosrow is preparing to invade again. Belisarius races back to the Eastern Front, using horses of the famous Cursus Publicus, the Roman postal service, with fresh remounts at every stage. A journey that normally takes a month can be completed in around 8 days.
Wow.
Local
He is zooming. Just like he's booking it.
commanders warn that Khosrow is approaching with the biggest army yet. They want to hole up in Hierapolis and hide behind its strong walls. Belisarius has a different plan. If Khosrow were attacking any other people but Romans, this plan of yours would be safe and sensible. But as immediately after leaving here, this barbarian plans to fall upon some other territory of the Emperor, be assured that to die bravely would be better in every way than to be saved without a fight.
Wow.
For this would justly be called not salvation, but treason.
So from what I'm getting, he's gonna fight them. Man. He is bold. I have to give it to Belisarius. He is very brave, though I don't know how much strength he has at the moment and how much you know, Khosrow's strength is, but apparently he's there with the biggest army yet, so Belisarius is gonna have to... I wonder how he's gonna counter that, though.
So come as quickly as possible to Europos, where, after collecting the whole army, I hope to deal with the enemy as God permits.
Wow.
Khosrow is counting on another lucrative plundering expedition. This time he plans to raid Palestine and pillage Jerusalem. But when he hears Belisarius himself has arrived and is gathering a Roman army at Europos, he hesitates. He sends an envoy, Abandanes, to meet Belisarius on the pretext of reopening negotiations, but really to gauge his strength. For almost the first time in 10 years, Procopius is not at Belisarius' side. He has remained in Constantinople. In fact, his days of campaigning with the great Roman general are over. Nonetheless, he provides a detailed description of what follows. Belisarius meets Khosrow's envoy far from the Roman camp, surrounded by an imposing number of his most fearsome warriors, including Thracians, Illyrians, Goths, and Vandals. They have been hand-picked to make an impression. All are tall, strongly built men, armed to the teeth, and seem completely unconcerned by the arrival of a Persian envoy.
Is he trying to, like, intimidate them? He's like, get the buffest, biggest dudes out here. We need to intimidate these Persians. He's playing mind games right now. It's psychological warfare at the moment.
Belisarius himself speaks in a carefree manner. This course that Khosrow has chosen is not how men usually behave. If other men have a dispute with their neighbor, they first try to negotiate with him, and only go to war if they do not receive satisfaction. But he first comes into the midst of the Romans, and then makes suggestions about peace. With that, Belisarius dismisses the envoy. The envoy returns to Khosrow, and
dang, Belisarius is kind of baller. You see, like, the way he was sitting, though? Just complete dominance. The man is in control of the situation. He asserted his dominance right there, dudes. But, dang. Let's see how the king reacts.
Urges the king to avoid battle at all costs. The enemy are not like any men he's seen before. They are formidable and disciplined. Their commander is wise and imposing. The king should withdraw as soon as possible. Khosrow takes his advice. The Persian army crosses the Euphrates and marches home.
Dang. The dude literally got them running because he intimidated them so hard. He got them running. Wow. Dude, Belisarius is like playing mind games right now. He's doing so much. It's just, this man's on another level. He's like the Romans of old, dude.
Belisarius appears to have bluffed a stronger enemy into retreat and saved huge swathes of the empire from plunder.
The man won a battle without having to even fight one. I'm in awe. I'm in awe, Belisarius. You are amazing.
Pillage. According to Procopius, the Romans praised Belisarius. He seemed to have achieved greater glory in their eyes by this feat than when he brought Gelimer or Vitiges captive to Constantinople. In truth, it was an achievement of great importance and deserving great praise, at a time when all the Romans were hiding in terror behind their defenses. Belisarius and his Bucalari.
Look at that smug face of his. He's like, yeah, watch this, guys. That's like the perfect expression.
Putting on a show that is so intimidating and deceptive that the Persian king abandons his campaign. It's a famous and memorable scene. But did it ever happen? Many
What? Oh my goodness, I hope it happened. that would have been one of the ultimate Giga Chad moments of history. I pray that it actually happened.
Historians believe that something even more terrifying caused Khosrow's rapid withdrawal. He'd discovered the empire was riddled with plague.
Oh.
During these times,
that makes it less cool. I don't know, I like the idea that Belisarius asserted his dominance so hard that they just couldn't handle it anymore. They were like, this guy's too much of a Chad. He cannot be challenged. We have to leave. I want to believe that. But I guess it makes sense, right? The plague. Not as cool, though. Oh, man. Come on, Epic History TV. Like, that was a bit much. You put a carrot in front of my face and then took it away before I could grab it fully. So sad.
Was a pestilence, which came close to wiping out the whole of mankind. Now, in the case of all other scourges sent from heaven, some explanation or cause might be given by daring men. But for this calamity, it is quite impossible either to express in words or to conceive in thought any explanation, except indeed to refer it to God. The 6th century world is full of strange and mysterious phenomena. Sometimes even a highly educated man like Procopius can only record his observations and trust in God. Of the year 536, he wrote, "It came about during this year that a most dread portent took place. The whole year the sun gave..."
Oh yes. Isn't that called the worst year of human history? Wait. Okay, I remember watching these videos a long time ago. You know, worst year of human history, 5 something. Okay, this image got me. But oh, dang, yeah, I remember the sun was gone. Was it because of a volcanic eruption or something? It was something. I think I could have sworn it had to do something with a volcano or something. But crops died, sun was gone. Oh, and also there's the bubonic plague. Oh my goodness. Yeah. The Eastern Roman Empire had its moments where it was just super unlucky. Even though they were doing great, right? That sucks.
Gave forth its light without brightness, like the moon, and it seemed much like an eclipse, for its beams were not clear, nor like those it usually makes. From the time when this thing happened, men were free.
Kings fans, get up from your seats and make some noise.
Neither from war, nor pestilence, nor any other thing that brings death. Experts now believe Procopius was observing the atmospheric aftermath of a massive volcanic eruption. In fact, a cluster of volcanic activity around this date would help to trigger what's become known as the Late Antique Little Ice Age. Its impact is impossible to measure, but it may have contributed to food shortages and worsened the famine that Procopius witnessed in Italy. Such shortages made
Sorry, I keep pausing the video. It's because my new earbuds are coming in soon. The last few videos I have kind of not been using them, but they come out pretty well. You don't hear like a strong echo, right? Or at least I don't think so. But so yeah, it's also easier on my ears because I'm not wearing the headphones that like after a while it's like I can't wear these anymore. Either way. Yeah, let's get back to this.
the population weaker and more vulnerable to what came next. It originated among the Egyptians who live in Pelusium. From there it branched out in 2 directions. The first moving to Alexandria and then the rest of Egypt. The second coming to the Palestinians who live by the border of Egypt. Plague is first recorded in the Nile Delta in 541. It spreads across Egypt and into coastal...
Yeah, that's interesting because I remember when we were looking at Napoleon, you know, in Egypt, that also a plague spontaneously broke out there too. What is going on in Egypt? Like, that that this is happening. Like, I don't know the science behind why these plagues start. I think the Black Death started, right, because of like the transfer of rats or something. Like that's the famous story that, you know, rats carrying disease got onto ships and it just created a disaster there. Yeah, I don't know the science behind the whole thing, but man, that's wild. I just noticed like coincidence there,
Palestine. In spring 542, it reaches the imperial capital, Constantinople. It spreads rapidly across the empire.
I think there was a time where even Justinian was affected with the plague. I believe it was him, and then he almost died, but he recovered, I believe.
In 543, plague reaches Persian-ruled Armenia and the Kingdom of the Franks. Recently, plague victims have even been identified in Anglo-Saxon England.
Unfortunately, it seems that, yeah, the Byzantines got the heavier hit of it. Unfortunately. Oh dear.
Procopius is in Constantinople when the plague strikes with full, terrifying force. They fell ill in the following way. Suddenly they became feverish. Some of them when they rose from sleep, others while they walked about or doing any small thing. The body did not change color or become warm like a regular fever, nor did it burn up. Rather, at first, the fever was so mild that it gave no cause for alarm, either to victims or the doctors who treated them. But then on the same day or the next, a bubonic swelling appeared. This happened around the groin, also inside the armpit, sometimes by the ears or the thigh. Some victims, Procopius writes, fall into a coma-like state, unable to feed or care for themselves. Others are seized by madness, shouting wildly and running into the streets. Some died immediately, others after many days. In some cases, the body blossomed with dark pustules about the size of a lentil. These people did not survive a single day. They all died immediately. Many others suddenly began to vomit blood and perished immediately. I must also...
Dude, that's gonna be horrifying to just be witnessing at the moment, and this man is witnessing all this. Like... That's terrifying, right?
State that the most eminent doctors predicted that many would die, who shortly afterwards were unexpectedly free of all sickness. They also claimed that many would survive, who were destined to perish almost immediately. Thus, there was no cause behind this disease that any human reason could grasp. For in all cases, the outcome made little sense. DNA analysis of human remains from this and later pandemics has identified the cause of this terrifying disease, a deadly bacterium called Yersinia pestis. Procopius is at the center of the world's first bubonic plague pandemic. The second, 8 centuries later, is known as the Black Death. The peak of the pandemic lasts 3 months. On the very worst days, the death toll in Constantinople alone may be as high as 10,000. Between a third and half the city's population perish. Entire households are wiped out. The city's graveyards overflow, and corpses are crammed into city watchtowers. It was not easy in those times to see anyone out and about, for all were holed up in their homes. If you happened to chance upon someone going out, he was carrying one of the dead. All work came to a standstill. The plague hits the empire's great cities hardest, but the pestilence also reaches deep into the countryside. Then Emperor Justinian himself falls sick.
Yeah, he recovers though, I believe. But still, like, that's terrifying.
News soon reaches the army in Syria. There are even rumors that the emperor is already dead. Belisarius and his generals discuss the situation, but we have no reliable information on what is said or by whom. Justinian has no children. The succession will be an uncertain and dangerous time. Their own role may be decisive. They may even discuss who among them is best placed to succeed the emperor. Unexpectedly, Justinian makes a full recovery. But Empress Theodora has learned of the generals meeting in Syria. Her informers tell her that Belisarius and another general, Buzes, had said they would not support any new emperor proclaimed in Constantinople. Theodora regards these words as treason, a clear sign they will turn against her if her husband should die. Belisarius and Buzes are summoned to Constantinople for questioning. Theodora cannot prove their treason, but both men experience a sudden, dramatic fall from favor. Procopius claims that Buzes spends more than 2 years in a secret prison. Belisarius, the emperor's most successful general, escapes imprisonment, but his disgrace is total. He is dismissed from command and loses much of his fortune. His famed bucellari are split up and distributed amongst other commanders. Belisarius lives in Constantinople as a private citizen for more than a year. While abroad, Justinian's empire slides towards crisis. The plague has killed a multitude of Roman citizens and soldiers, and severely disrupted government, trade, and taxation. In Armenia, a Roman offensive ends in humiliating defeat. In North Africa, Berber rebels defeat the Romans and kill Solomon the governor. While in Italy, the Ostrogoths have rallied under a new king, Totila, retaken most of Belisarius's gains, and again threaten Rome itself. Justinian is desperate for a general who can take command in Italy and turn the tide of war. 544 AD.
Yeah, quite frankly, Belisarius, I don't think deserved that. You know, I don't hate Theodora, but I'm probably not with her on that one. Like, someone who's accomplished as much as Belisarius, and who's been nothing but loyal, time and time again. And yeah, in all fairness, it's quite the hectic time, right? Like, even though they made that statement, apparently, still, you know, it's like, I don't know. I feel bad, like, the poor guy did not deserve that. I'm sorry, I'm a little biased for Belisarius now, I've noticed. I really like the guy, so him being disgraced, I don't think he deserved that. You know, Theodore, I don't know. It's just, he's done too much. It would be like if Augustus, like, I don't know, you know, disgraced Agrippa. I'd be like, heck no, dude, you know? Like, Belisarius, and now he's lost Italy practically again. Belisarius, you don't just bench your best guy. You don't take him away from command. That's just so stupid. It's, you know, it's kind of like when the Austrians kind of bench Archduke Charles, even though he's like one of the few people to solo Napoleon. It's like, you don't get rid of one of your best. I'm sorry, that was dumb. I don't hate Theodora, I swear. It's just, I don't agree with that, or Justinian letting that happen. It's like, I don't know, I'm sad. Now we just basically lost Italy again, and things are going bad. Yeah, I'm getting the impression from this series that Justinian doesn't like Belisarius. I know that maybe that's a bit strong of a statement, but it seems like Justinian has kind of been weary of him, at least the way Epic History TV is telling it. It's like, I don't know, there's something weird about them, like, you know, with Augustus and Agrippa, like, yeah, they're best friends. This, I'm like, are they even really friends? Like, I don't know, but, I don't know, Belisarius is a Chad. I hate hearing that he got, you know, removed from command. You don't take your best player out, man. And now look, everything's falling apart without him. Like, we need Belisarius again, man. Like, I'm sorry, that brought my mood down a little.
Belisarius is recalled from disgrace and given back his old command in Italy. But the Emperor has no troops to spare, and Belisarius's Bucellari are still in the east. This time he will have only 4,000 recruits that he must hire and equip himself to reinforce the demoralized army in Italy. And in Totila, he faces a far more dangerous adversary than before. He is poorly resourced and has been ungratefully treated by his emperor.
Amen. Yeah, man. I'm surprised the man's not bitter. I'd be bitter against Justinian. I'm like, well, you got rid of me. Now you need me. But you can only give me like 4,000. Oh man, I'd be angry at Justinian. I'm sorry. I don't hate Justinian, I swear. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I kind of have a weird vibe about him after watching this. I don't know. I don't hate him. I don't know. I have a weird vibe around him. But, he gives off weird vibes, but I do really like Belisarius, and the man is being given basically nothing, but he's gonna have to basically fix everything. Oh, Belisarius, you deserve the world, bro.
But Belisarius loyally marches to war again, in what will prove his final campaign. Big thanks to legendary...
Well, let's do this, I suppose. Right? The final battle. Let's see Belisarius, now with even less than ever before. Let us see what greatness he will achieve in this final epic video. So, yeah, another great video. Really loved it. Really full of great moments, and just, once again, I love Epic History TV. He covers so much, yet, you know, like, so quickly, but, like, in a good way, I mean, not in a bad way. Yeah, overall, just fantastic, and I can't wait to just see the finale of this series. Again, justice for Belisarius. The man deserved better. But yeah, I will be seeing you guys in the next video. So until then, bye everyone.